Now let's start with profit, because profit is not a dirty word, okay? Profit is something that you need for your business to be sustainable, and profit's not something you have to be embarrassed about making. Yes, I serve people, I'm in a service industry, and I make a massive difference to their lives, but I'm not embarrassed to take their money to do it because I'm putting my own life, my own family, my own kids on the line every time I go to work for their children. If you're watching this because you want to grow your $1 million business to a $2 million business, you need to be aware that what got you to where you are now won't get you to where you've got to go. Okay, the skills that you've got, the strategies you've got in place, the systems you have in place, they've worked up till now, but they won't get you to the next level. So you're going to need to make some hard and very painful decisions when it comes to profitability so that you can get your $1 million business to become a $2 million business. Let's look at the basics. So obviously your pricing. Your profitability will rise when you raise your prices as long as you're not completely alienating a big bunch of your clients or your customers. I didn't want to raise my prices, but as you grow, your costs grow, okay? And you think that, oh, as I scale, my costs will drop down. It doesn't work like that. As you scale, some costs drop down, but others come up. Like you need new systems, you need probably more staff. So you're going to need to raise your prices. And you can do that because you've got the credibility behind you of having got the size business that you've got. To have a business that has a healthy profitability at this point in the game, you're going to need to be very aware of your key metrics, and you're going to need to know what your figures are. You know, you're going to need to not just hope that the numbers will all work themselves out. You could get by in the early years like that, and I know that I did. I was never really aware of how much I was making or not making. I just knew that we were making a fair bit because otherwise there wouldn't have been money in the bank. But when you get to this size, you can't live like that. You need to know your figures because the moment that you start to go a little bit astray, you're going to go way astray. It's just the scale you're at. You need to look at what the key metrics are for your business. So in my business, which is a tutoring business, I'm looking at how many students are we serving each week. I'm looking at how many did we gain this week, how many did we lose. I'm looking at what was the profit per student. I'm looking at our overheads all the time, like what's our overhead, how much is that cutting into our profits. And where I used to not be measuring things, I'm now measuring almost everything. In fact, I would rather run the risk of too much measuring than not enough. Now, how do you increase your profitability? There's 5 levers you've got. There's 5 tools you've got. You've got the number of leads you've got coming in multiplied by the number of conversions that happen gives you your new clients. Okay, that's one way to very quickly increase your revenue is to get a whole lot more new clients. That means you either put a lot more work into generating more leads and probably a lot more money and marketing into generating more leads, or you make those leads convert better. You find more effective ways of doing that. Then for your customers, once you've got those customers, you're dealing with the levers of the frequency that they purchase from you and how much margin, how much profit margin is in each customer transaction. And you can increase that profit margin per transaction by playing with your prices a bit, increasing them, or by reducing your overheads. So when you realize you've actually got a lot of options when it comes to increasing your profitability, life becomes a lot easier. There's always one or two that are going to be easier to play with. Most people just assume, oh, if I want to increase my profitability, I do it through raising my prices. You know what? I've done that and it works quite well, but it's just one of 5 tools you've got. Those levers being your leads and your conversion strike rate, which then gives you your customers. And then from those customers, how much are you making from each sale? And how often are they buying from you? And that obviously factors in what your pricing is. Now, the thing with profitability is people love to get all theoretical about it and, oh, I wonder if. You know what? Profitability comes down to one thing, and that is being 80-20 about what you do. I hope you've heard of 80-20. I'm pretty sure you would have, and that is that 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions. And I know for my profitability, I've had to make some really hard calls, some really tough decisions that I didn't want to make. You know, I mean, we've closed down 2 of our venues so that the other 9 can be really healthy. You know, we've cut a lot of costs in areas I didn't really want to cut. We've changed the way that our customers pay us from just invoicing them to a regular direct debit sort of thing that's a lot more reliable, and it's reduced the amount of time and money we spend chasing overdues. We've also bought a whole heap more software. I mean, we've done a lot of different things to increase our profitability, but really it comes down to 80-20. What's the one action I can take that's going to have the biggest impact? You know, what are the little things I could do that would generate big returns? Something that our parents' generation used to say was, you worry about the cents and the dollars will look after themselves. Well, I think that is such a myth. That is not how you do business in this day and age. What you do is you pick the most important things and you do them really well, and you disregard the cents. You just focus on the big events. Now, something else to be aware of as you scale from 1 million to 2 million is you're going to be very tempted to leave your niche, to leave the area that your business is built on, that you are so good at, that you're renowned for. It's going to be tempting to diversify. Now, I would encourage most businesses to not even consider diversifying. If you've got a winning recipe, scale that recipe. Don't go trying to add new things in the recipe. Most people who try and broaden their offering and scale that way end up diluting their offering. They'll find that their margins have to drop because they're no longer expert at everything they do. And you create a lot more workload for yourself. Now, workload without profit is not worth doing. So you're better off scaling the niche that you know well, that you're already good at. Because by staying within your niche, you'll have raving fans, people you work for who are happy to tell everyone else. You'll have high conversions because you're not competing with everyone else. You've stayed within your niche, and obviously your niche is supposed to be quite narrow. And you'll have an easier work life because you can systematize things because you've been doing them for so long, you know how to do them with your eyes closed. You go starting up some new little venture thing that's outside your niche, and suddenly you have to then build all the systems that go with that. You don't need that work. You're better off putting your systems and energy into what you're already good at. So in short, profitability is not a dirty word, okay? Profitability is what you must have. It's like oxygen. I can't live without oxygen. Your business can't live without really healthy profitability. And that's something you're gonna have to really focus on to grow your business from 1 million to 2 million, because scale by itself won't create profitability. Scale plus brain power plus strategy plus coming up with systems that do things for you, that creates profitability.